This is Flint, and you're listening to G.I. Joe Chronicles.
The LONGBOX CRUSADE presents
G.I. Joe Chronicles.
Don't they realize they're dealing with Destro?
When I juice goes bucket, they're gonna scrape you off the walls with a squeegee.
Now stop sputtering like a wet toaster and get busy!
Welcome to G.I. Joe Chronicles. I'm one of your commanders, Pat Sampson, codename DJ Kristatos, and joining me as always is my battle buddy in this operation. It is Jarrod Albrick, codename Death Probe.
And he's DJ Kristatos. I've just been going over our PSYOP plans, and I think I've devised a way to get you to do all the things I want you to do using the PSYOP plan and the file I have on you.
Oh, and what do you want me to do? Oh, wait, why am I see?
Aha! That's the question that I wanted you to ask. All will be revealed, Pat. All will be revealed.
You got me already.
Well, hello, everyone. It's all the green shirts tuning in for this podcast. I want to welcome everyone back to Fort Longbox. We, of course, appreciate you tuning in to talk some more G.I. Joe comics with us as we chronicle our way through G.I. Joe special missions by Marvel on this episode. Next episode, we will return to our coverage of G.I. Joe America's Elite. We'll find out what is going on with Snake Eyes in that submarine. But for this episode, we are back in G.I. Joe Special Missions, the series that launched in 1986. On this episode of G.I. Joe Chronicles, it is just DJ Kristatos and I, like back in the old days, because again, as I told you on last episode, you figured out by now we record these back to back. I didn't book a guest, but I will get guests in the future, I promise. Maybe.
We got a little problem here with some pests, so we hired in the penultimate pest control company to come in here. Their motto is, you got them, we swat them. So we actually just had to, make sure nobody else gets kind of fumigated or swatted. So we're just keeping it us here.
Yeah, and I want to give a shout out to show sponsor Penultimate Pest Control. Call 555-1234. Pick up the phone. Pat, with that out of the way, let's get that intelligence report.
All right, Jarrod, for this mission, we will be covering G.I. Joe Special Mission number 7. It was published by Marvel. Cover date of October 1987. Writer was Larry Hama. Pencils go to Herb Trimpe. Inker, Herb Trimpe as well. Colorist is Bob Sharon. Letters is Phil Felix. And cover art goes to the one, the only Mike Zeck. Mike Zeck. And speaking of the cover, Death Probe, please take us through that cover description.
The standard 1980s G.I. Joe logo is smaller across the top, making room for the larger block letters. White with red highlights this time. First time they've played with the colors, by the way. And, of course, it reads Special Missions. Duke stands in the yellow corner box. The main action depicts Chuckles, Lady J, and an unknown third Joe, presumably dial tone, using powered hang gliders to soar above the city, heading for the large Cobra consulate building. Do you, Pat?
Thank you, Jarrod, for that cover description. So let's go ahead and find out what we thought of the cover. And I'll go back to you, Jarrod, with your thoughts.
I like it. It's a Zek, and it's the early Special Missions covers, but I would say of the 7 we've seen so far, it's my least favorite, but I don't even have a real good reason for that. I think it comes down to who the featured Joes are. I think Chuckles is kind of neat, but I'm not a huge Chuckles guy. Like, it's neat to see him featured. This is very 1987. Part of the fun of Special Missions is really focusing on certain Joes that don't get a lot of limelight. Mm-hmm. And I've grown to like Chuckles more and more over the years because essentially, now that I've been in the military and served and all that stuff, I've figured out what they said without saying it is that Chuckles is a CIA operative. Okay, that's what he is. He's the CIA guy. And it's funny how long it took me to figure that out, but this is very, the Hawaiian shirt and jeans look and guy on vacation look is kind of synonymous with like CIA guys in Southeast Asia back in the day. But anyway, it's a good cover. It depicts something that happens in the story. If you dig Chuckles and Lady J, then it's for you. I think that's really what holds me back is I like Chuckles and I like Lady J. They're just not top tier Joes for me.
Yeah.
But I like the way that it somehow the cover does a great job of depicting like silent, like smooth, quiet operation.
I was just going to say that it does depict when you look at this is a special mission, right?
Indeed.
It definitely, if the title doesn't tell you that, you could kind of tell that they're doing some special ops that are happening here, gliding into a Cobra facility stealthily, it looks like. With Chuckles, I would think I would rather see for a cover him doing some sort of a more, I don't want to say secretive, but a more
like Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible type stealthy.
I just don't think this is the one for him on this one.
Yeah, it's almost like the stealthy, quiet passiveness of it makes it a quiet, passive cover. Like if you compare it to number 1 and their torpedo and wetsuit are just laying down fire off the side of that ship, that's incredible. And I'm looking back at the previous 6. You got torpedo wetsuit laying down fire. The next one you've got roadblock clutch Recondo laying down fire. The next one is when they're in that A-team van laying down fire. The next one after that is the lifeline hanging upside down. So that's the tents, not laying down fire. Then the next one is the Night Raven shooting down the Sky Striker. So it's action pop. And then the last one was another tense one with Outback hiding under the snowbank. Yeah. Right. And then this one, it's like action, tense, smooth, quiet hang gliding.
Smooth, quiet hang.
Which, it conveys it wonderfully. It just doesn't have the oomph of the others.
Yeah. Orsted, what do you think of this cover? Hey man, I like it because it's just smooth. I can see popping some mushrooms and then just going for a glide, man. And just gliding. I love it. And look at the sky on that cover. It's like a purple haze, man. Purple haze.
Yeah,
it's all in my brain. Oh man.
What was the question?
Well, okay. Thank you, Orsted. We appreciate it. Definitely. Thank you for your thoughts on the cover. But it's time for us to actually put a number to this cover. And how are we going to do that? Well, we're going to use a 1 to 10 flag point rating system to express how much we either like or dislike this cover. So, Jarrod, if we had 1 to 10 flag points, 1 meaning you didn't like it at all, and 10 meaning it is perfect and you should make this a recruiting poster for Orsted's Hang Loose Hang Gliding, how would you rate this?
Orsted's Hang Loose Hang Gliding, man. Yeah. The gliders all have the same print as Chuckles' shirt.
Oh, man.
It's very floral.
But they're not, they're hemp, man. It's hemp.
It's hemp. Of course it is. Anyways, on a scale of 1 to 10, it's still a Zet. And again, its biggest weakness is what it's intended to do. It's quiet and passive. So it fully does what it was supposed to do in its Zek. Anyway, 7. I'll give it a 7.
Okay. I think I agree with you on that. It's a Zek, great art, no flaws on that way. I just think layout-wise or just what it's showing, it's doing its job. So giving it a 7 as well. So 2 cool guys at a 7 for this cover. We would like to know what you guys thought of it. So give us a number in the comments for the cover, and we'd love to hear from you. With the cover out of the way, let's go back to Death Probe for the story synopsis in our mission brief.
Cobra,
The Cobra consulate has been invaded by counter-revolutionaries from Sierra Gordo, and the infiltrators have commandeered the basement, planting explosives in all the load-bearing points of the building. A power struggle ensues between Baroness and Zarana on how to handle the problem, and Dr. Mindbender tries to play referee. Meanwhile, the Joes infiltrate the sewer system and the roof in order to cause more chaos. The real mission being to simply put a tap on Cobra's communication lines. Because it turns out the entire operation was being manipulated by the Joes, specifically Chuckles and Psych-Out, who use their personality profile system to determine the outcome of the mission before it's even started. Oh, and Chuckles also played the counter-revolutionaries, providing them with knockout gas instead of the C4 that they thought would bring down the facility.
Now, back to G.I. Joe.
Okay, Pat, we've got another special mission by Hammer and Trimpy. We are blessed, sir.
Mm-hmm.
All right, what are your first thoughts?
This was a cat and mouse kind of a game, I guess, issue. Halfway through the beginning of it, it's just these revolutionaries going against Cobra, right? They're mad at what was happening in their area, and so they want to, kind of stick it to the man, and the man this time is Cobra, and so they want to take him down. You don't see the Joes until halfway through this issue, and then you start to put it together and go, oh, they're planning this thing, and so I'm playing you, you're playing, it's a play on a play again and a play in. It was definitely well orchestrated, and I liked it. All that to just get this communication so they can just kind of put a tap on them or something.
That's right, they're going to eavesdrop on the comms. It was very old school Mission Impossible kind of style.
Kind of something like, yeah.
A little Man from U.N.C.L.E. feel to it, with sort of the trickery and the using everyone against themselves. One of the things I have to bring up in our discussion, because it just cracks me up, is like a character you almost never see, whether it be in the cartoons or in the comics, is Psych-Out. Like Psych-Out's just not used very much. I love how he's used like exactly twice in this book. And both times he's like, let me think about this. Let's proceed. Like that's all he ever does is like,
this lined up,
let's continue.
This lined up. Yep. Now let's
go ahead. Let's proceed. That's like all he does. It's kind of funny. I laughed about that. I wonder if, Larry's got a pretty good sense of humor. So it does make me wonder if he just very intentionally gives the guy two scenes and both of them is like, he considers something and says, let's proceed. That's all he does. But it's kind of neat to see Chuckles be that puppet master and do his machinations. And he's using his resources like someone like Psych-Out, who again, doesn't get used a lot, but you could use him because he's using these personality profiles to determine sort of, like you said, the outcome before they even really get started, and everything kind of goes to his plan.
Yeah, I like that because you kind of saw that in the story developing, especially between Baroness and Zarana. Obviously, Psycho's saying, hey, if we do this and this, that's going to build her temperature up, and they're just going to fight against each other. Now we bring in this third party that's coming in, and so the tension gets more. They start going after each other. When you even think about it deeper, Chuckles and Psycho, they must have picked this team of revolutionaries to go in there, right? Knowing that their attitudes, especially the ones that was like, I'll show you, I'm going to blow up everything, or I'm going to keep shooting and I'm going to keep doing this. This is really more of a really deeper mental issue. The talking about it even more is like, wow, this really is a good issue.
It's an often overlooked segment of warfare, psychological operations, or PSYOPs, as it's called. And without revealing, I can't reveal a lot of things I did in the war. But I was definitely sort of, if I was to say I was in any part of the war fighting machine, I was more in the PSYOPs realm.
In that, were you in the team that would just kind of just keep blasting? Do you really want to hurt me? Just kept blasting it and playing it over and over and over.
Yeah, that's it. You figured out. That's exactly what I did.
I knew it. That's how you get somebody to break down. You just keep playing Culture Club.
But again, every one of these special missions from the jump, Larry has been putting in sort of his real experiences or things that he knows about from his military service. And I know I'm about to say I know for a fact, I'm not a mind reader, but I really get the feeling that Larry,
Dr. Mindbender,
was Larry was wanting to do an issue around psychological warfare and psyop. And he thought, well, I got a perfect opportunity to do that. You know, I've got that CIA character in Chuckles, and I've got Psych-Out for his 2 scenes. I think he saw an opportunity to put an often overlooked portion of warfare. I mean, if you look at all the war movies out there, there's not a ton of them that are wrapped around psyops. There's probably a couple, but like most of them are battlefield stuff. So anyway, I just really get the feeling that once again, this is Larry plugging in his experience and going, hey, I want to tell a good story around psyops, you know, and manipulation and CIA operatives and how they manipulate, you know, young counter-revolutionaries, and like, but I want to do it all in the realm of this really, you know, fun G.I. Joe. And it totally worked.
Special missions, it's going to tie back into the mainstream series as well too, you know. So now they have this capability of listening in, and how that kind of shows up in the main storyline of the Battle of Joe I
was wondering, because it's been too long for me to make those connections. I was wondering if this is going to pay off in the main title, if they will show intel being gained from this mission. It wouldn't surprise me, because it's all Larry, so it wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, it could be. It's been a while since I've read through it all as well, so
this is where we need the research team to come in. Yep. All right, so we're talking to Jim, we're talking to Gary, we're talking to Scotty and Matt, and I'm certain we forgot something.
Yep. Keep us on the straight and
yeah. Did this wiretap pay off in the main continuity storyline of G.I. Joe in the 80s? We need to know, and only you guys can tell us.
And I think it does pay off in a way that you went back to it a little bit. We have a little more character development with Chuckles. With the mainstream series going on, it's hard to give certain characters, you know, some more spotlight. And that's what this was for. That's what Special Mission was for, was to give some characters some spotlight, some deeper character developments going on. And I liked how Chuckles was used. Even my boy Dial Tone, him being used, what they did. And, you know, why was Lady J there? Well, they needed her to put on the wig and the glasses to pretend to be the Baroness, to again play mind warfare against the revolutionaries that are in the basement wanting to blow things up. And she's actually telling them, go ahead and blow it up, because they want them to, you know, it's all part of the plan.
I love the fact that it's just all you need is like a sexy woman, and then you just wig and glasses, you know. And part of me wanted to laugh about that, but then I realized too, this was 1987, and there's no such thing as HDTV. So you might actually get away with this.
Yeah,
with the low resolutions of the past.
And what they did, when you noticed in the artwork, they just kept the camera on her face. So she's there in the face, but she still has a Lady J outfit underneath her. You know, they just said, hey, put in this wig and glasses. And
yeah, that's right. That's right. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah.
So I have to pick up on a certain moment that led me to send a certain text. At one point in the book, Zorana refers to Serpentor as Serpy. And so I had to text our boy Matt Passo, who goes by Serpy Matt on X and maybe some other social media platforms. I was like, hey, is this the first use of the term Serpy? Because if anybody's going to know, it's going to be you. And he said he thinks it is. He says it might be the only time it's been used. He's not certain. He hasn't done all the research. So, hey, that's where the other research team members can come in and help us all out. But he was pretty sure that this was the first and maybe only Serpy that was ever used. But he said that his nickname Serpy Matt was unrelated to this moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, he got it. The Serpy thing came from a different source, but it's just neat to see it show up in the book. So
yeah, it is. That is cool, and to kind of put that together, and knowing his love for Serpentor definitely is where it's at. And speaking of Serpentor, I just like the way he's like, "Hey, I put you in charge. If you can't be in charge, I'm going to pick somebody."
Yeah, why are you calling me?
Why are you calling me? I'm busy right now. You know, I got pants to put on. I got things to do. I put my Serpy pants on one leg at a time.
I mean, yeah, if there's something
difference is
he makes golden snakes?
Chariots?
Yes. He makes gold chariots.
Yeah.
If one thing I've learned in my time in the military is if you're going to call, the colonel, like let's say,
Yep, yeah, your next level up, yeah.
Yeah, if you're going to call the colonel, you don't call him during a moment like this and go, "What do I do?" You call him and say, "This is what's happening, and this is my current plan of action." All right, don't call the boss without at least telling him what your plan of action is. That way the boss can weigh in and say, "Yeah, that's a good plan," or "Have you considered this?" But just call and go, "What do I do?" Okay, then anyone can do your job if you're going to call and ask me what to do.
Oh, there was a lot of action in this one as well, with the team going in and breaking into the consulate, her sending the team of Cobras down to take them out. Pretty decent, some action scenes in here. And then just what happens when they blow it up, it turns to be just gas.
That's how it ends up for me every time, too. I think I want to blow it up, and it's just gas.
I thought it was interesting that there's a lot of people that are working from Cobra, right? We're in this building, because you see a bunch of people like, okay, you guys got to evacuate. And they're all wearing some sort of Cobra symbol on their suit. And, there's a lady that has her helmet off and she's yelling, you're like, oh, everybody evacuate.
It was neat to see that sort of there's a bigger.
Yeah, these are the behind the people. Yeah.
Yeah, there's people who get up every morning. This is in New York City, I think, and ride the subway and go to the Cobra consulate because, I work on the whatever, I
work on this floor of the consulate building.
There's people that that's just their job. Go do that.
But are they non-Cobra people that just, I need a job, so I'm just going to go work here?
I think there are some of those people. I really do. I think there's people that just work there because they put an ad in the paper. The guys in the suits aren't, I don't think that they're, and gals in their work attire, I don't think they're going to be putting on masks and helmets and going on as field soldiers. I think they legitimately are just sort of the office workers.
And they kind of call them out because they're like, okay, the ones with the guns, you need to make a perimeter. The ones that aren't, kind of stand off and back away. But we'll get back to work and doing whatever what are they doing?
Again, there's a certain analog there in the military. Plenty of my military jobs in the office was, let's say, 75% military and 25% was government employee or contractor civilian.
Yeah.
GS employees or contractors. So it's not atypical to have, like I said, say 60 to 75% of the office show up in military attire, and then the other folks are in business attire. So it's real. I've lived it.
Oh, it's just interesting to me. I was like, wow, there's a lot of people. There's got to be, at least a decent amount of people working in that building.
We have certainly dissected this issue down to a certain level, haven't we?
Yeah, we have. One other thing before we call it done is, the more I go through this, you see Larry using specific Joes for the tasks that need to be done. The team that are in the sewer, it's Tunnel Rat because he can do the sewers, but he's also got Breaker with him, right? So you got Breaker doing the communication that he needs to do, cutting the lines and that down there, Dial Tone up on the top, doing what he needs to do to break in. So I like that you have the right guy for the job that you're doing.
Absolutely. Larry's making smart choices of the characters using and how he's using them. I think that's the whole point of Special Mission. But just to ruin it all for you, Pat.
Yeah.
If the whole point was to put the listening device, tap it into the system, probably could just send Snake Eyes overnight.
Yeah.
And got it done.
They got care of it, yeah.
But, to poke a hole in my own theory, they might have needed the chaos so that it was never noticed. I think that was a big part of it.
That was part of it.
Never noticed that.
They didn't even notice that was done.
That it was done. And I think if you were to literally splice something into the comms, they would probably notice. So I've talked myself out of my silly Snake Eyes argument. All right, Pat, let's wrap this one up. Let's get the IG's report for the combat readiness of this issue.
And for those of you who don't speak military, that means we're going to score this issue story on the same 1 to 10 flag points we used earlier for the cover. Jarrod, I want you to start us off how you would rate this story.
I liked it quite a bit. It was a lot of fun, and it featured Joes that don't get a lot of limelight. I'll give it an 8. I liked it.
You know, I hate to be saying, you know, just keep agreeing with you on this, but I do.
And he's DJ Kristatos. I've just been going over our PSYOP plans, and I think I've devised a way to get you to do all the things I want you to do.
An 8 is a good place for it.
I agree. And I'm excited as we move forward, by the way. This issue it's cover dated late 87, like October of 87, which means probably on the stands in summertime, late summer. That is why I'm excited, because I just realized this is probably the last issue, maybe the next one, that I laid hands on before we moved to Germany, and it was much harder to find this secondary Joe title. So a lot of these going forward for me are going to be stuff that I may have never read before. Like, I'm very familiar with these because these are the ones I was going to get my hands on before we move. But after that, it came
more hard for you.
Hard to find special missions. So I'm very excited moving forward. Just a little add-on about me, because it's all about me.
Yeah, it is. Definitely. And that's what we're all here for. It's all about you.
Thanks, Pat.
You're welcome. And now it's time to award this episode's Silver Star Medal or Silver Snake for either gallantry or sneaky snaky-tude in action. This is where we each get to award the character in the issue who went above and beyond or below in the call of duty. And speaking about duty, Jarrod, who is your Silver Star or your Silver Snake for this issue?
I'll play the obvious hand. I'll give it to Chuckles. Chuckles set this whole thing up and pulled it off flawlessly with all those moving parts and whatnot. You know, you kind of have to split the award with Psych-Out.
I was just gonna say that would be how I would end it too. I would say I would give it to both Chuckles and Psych-Out.
Hang on, let me see if we can give it to Psych-Out. Okay, approved. We can proceed.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for checking.
All he did was approve. Proceed.
And how does that make you feel, Jarrod? That he
don't psych out me.
I agree with you. It was definitely Chuckles' obvious choice, along with Psych-Out. Well, with that done, let's go ahead and move into the next segment called Death Probe's Toy Chest.
It's here, the G.I. Joe collection, each sold separately. G.I. Joe from Hasbro.
All right, a Death Probe's Toy Chest. I'll take something or someone featured in this issue and give you a brief toy history on it. For this issue, I have selected Chuckles.
Well, go figure.
Who would have guessed? His real name is Philip M. Provost. He is specializing in CID, which is Criminal Investigation Division, and Intelligence. He is from Little Rock, Arkansas. He was released in Series 6 in 1987 and discontinued in 1989. He has blonde hair, a Hawaiian shirt, green pants, and black boots. He comes with a brown quick draw shoulder holster harness and a black Colt Commander 45 pistol.
That works every time.
And as of this recording, which is October of 2024, there are currently 5 versions of Chuckles. Pat.
Yes.
Chuckles.
You know,
get it?
I the ones that I've tried to eat the candy, but
you did a different Chuckles joke, I see.
Yeah, I just
focus on the figure and
the figure,
yeah,
not the candy, not the But those candy bars are really good and they're sugary and they have just sugar on them. It's like there's certain ones that I like of the flavors. Anyway, no, I did not have a Chuckles at all. How about you?
I think Chuckles was a late ad for me as well. I mean, I have him now. I don't rightly remember having him as a kid. I think I might have got him in my later years of collecting. But yeah, he's definitely a standout figure because he's got that Hawaiian shirt.
Definitely is.
So he's quick to recognize. It looks like it's got Patrick from SpongeBob on his shirt. But yeah, he's a unique figure, and for that I enjoy him. But again, he was never just a top tier for me. So yeah, Chuckles.
Chuckles. As we're talking about Chuckles and his figure and his look like, I want to give a big shout out to Kevin Reitzel. He's a big Joe fan. He's a big Joe cosplayer. When I see Chuckles, it reminds me of some of the pictures that Kevin would do for his cosplay, and he does a really great job, and I like that. So just want to give a shout out to Kevin.
Shout out to Kevin.
A nice hearty chuckles to you, Kevin, for what you do. All right, now that we got Death Probe's toy chest out of the way, up next is our feedback segment called Combat Comms.
Call in G.I. Joe! Go get Breaker! He can do it!
As always, we want to start off Combat Comms with our roster of our battle-hardened Crusader Club veterans. These are the fine folks that have joined our Crusaders Club. They enjoy early access to special Longbox video episodes, free raffle giveaways, voting on show programming, and so much more. We actually have started doing some questions that we are getting answers from the club members by, and so we appreciate everybody doing that as well. And so more content to come if you're a club member. So these are the folks reaping those benefits and giving some much appreciated support to the show.
Alan W. Wright.
And Helica Wolf. Oh.
Albert Elvis.
Bill Beer.
Billy D.
Bradley Delow.
Braxton Underwood.
Carrie.
Clinton Robeson.
Captain Entropy.
Clark Westfield.
Dave Collins, the Battlewagon.
Battlewagon.
Eric Hodges.
Eric Porter.
Ezra Gallo.
Gary V.
Gene Hendricks.
George Meal.
Gerald Green.
Heinz K.
Jason Keene.
Jason Lady.
Jeff Polier.
Jeremy L.
Jim Drummond. I hope you like Jim Drummond too.
If you don't like Jim Jarman, maybe you like Jim Meal.
Joe Man Conan.
Joe Thomas.
John Watson.
Josh Strickland.
Candace Ward.
Kathy Bright, the MVP.
Matt and Lizzie Passo.
Mark Ross.
Maxwell Traver.
Michael Minton.
Miranda W.
PD Devons.
Paul Hicks.
Rick from Jeff and Rick Present.
Ronald Easterday.
Rob Morgan.
Samantha Manning.
Sean Urbanski.
Spidey 67.
Spreadsheet.
Steve Cronin.
Tim Price.
Tony Pennington.
And the Toronto Cop. If we missed anyone on this list, we do apologize. Please keep in mind that we record these episodes well in advance of release. So if you're a recent addition, we should be adding you soon. But still, don't worry about it. Orsted would say, let it go, man. Just let us know that we missed you by sending an email to contact@longboxcrusade.com and we will get it all straightened out. But you might be asking yourself, how do I become a Crusaders Club member? I want these extra benefits. I want this extra stuff. How do I do it? Well, it's so simple. Just head on over to patreon.com and search for Longbox Crusade. There, for only $1 a month, you'll get all the access to the amazing world of the Crusaders Club. We invite you to come and check it out. As a reminder, you can call and leave a voice message at 707-532-5269. That number again is 707-532-LBOX. Pick up the phone. Was a phone. I once was a phone.
And that will bring us to mission complete status for this episode of G.I. Joe Chronicles. If you'd like to hear more from us in the realm of comic books, action films, vintage TV, movies, serials, and more, check out the entire Longbox Crusade Network. DJ Kristatos, where can they find that?
Well, Jarrod, you can find the Longbox Crusade on pretty much all of those podcatchers out there. Whatever you're using, search for Longbox Crusade, and I'm sure you will find it. If not, send an email to contact@longboxcrusade.com and let us know, and we'll get it figured out for you. Or you can just go to www.longboxcrusade.com. You can find us on X, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, all at Longbox Crusade. Back to you, Jarrod.
If you'd like to chat with us online, we can be found at... Back to you, Pat.
Oh, I wasn't ready for that. I can be found on the X at Kristatos01. Jarrod, where can you be found?
I am at Yard Sale Artist on X, Facebook, and Instagram. It is all at Yard Sale Artist. Thank you so much for joining us for this episode of G.I. Joe Chronicles. We will see you on the battlefield next episode, where we'll return to our coverage of 2006's Devil's Due series, G.I. Joe America's Elite. We're going to do issue number 8, Depth Charges. Until then, platoon, fall out.
Yo, Joe.
The music themes for this show are done by musical genius Joe November. Please check out his SoundCloud at Josephline99. That's Josephline99. You will not regret it.